Hello and welcome everyone. This is MrSovr with a new series for Java programming for beginners, and today we are going to be going over the simple Hello World. In Java is a very interesting programming language. I believe it was built based on C++. It has a virtual machine built into it, and if you don't have Java, you can just simply download it for free on java.com. For now, what you want to download is the JDK, which will allow you to develop with Java and do Java programming. Try to download the most updated version and you should be alright. I would also prefer you to download Eclipse for Java. Just Eclipse Classic is good to download. Um, you can easily make Java files and projects and packages and all sorts of that stuff. It highlights stuff for you, as you can see here. It also gives you the Java docs, which is just the API system for Java, and all sorts of that stuff. So let's go over what these things mean. Now, when you are looking at object-oriented programming language, which that is what Java is, it's a branch of programming languages like C++, C Sharp, I believe it's C Sharp, Java, and other programming languages also. But the main popular ones are C++ and Java. Now, with Java, there are classes, there are objects, there are methods, all sorts of that stuff. There's modifiers, there's variables, instance variables, stuff like that. Right now I'm going to go over what a class is, what an instance variable, or what I mean a global variable, not instance. I think they're the same, I'm not really for sure, but global variables, for sure. And I'm going to explain like privacy within variable scope, all that stuff. So let's start out with the class. Class, usually there should only be a class per file, but there can be more than one if you really want to. A lot of times, the only reason why you would want more than one class is usually for like GUIs or GUIs. But for now, we have public class hello world. Now the hello world has to be the exact same title for the actual .java file. So hello world with capital H and capital W has to be the exact same as the title of the class, which is right here. Now Java is case sensitive, so I would prefer you to watch out with your capitalizations and stuff like that, because Java will notice that, and whether if it's a function or a variable, you need to make sure you keep track of that stuff. Now, the actual public means that any other class other than its own, or, well, a class cannot call upon its own class, but this class right here is open to the public, basically. Any other of these files, like these other ones I have open, can access this class as long as it's in like the relevant area or package. Now, if I were to say this is private, as shown right here, that means none of the classes can get it. Only methods within this one class can access this variable or this method or whatever is assigned private can only be accessed in that single class. Now, a method is basically like it's a grouping of code that does tasks. For now, we have the main method, which is standard for all Java programs to have. It is where the program starts its execution. And what makes it so unique is that this is like the starting point of all the Java programs ever made. Even if you have 1,000 files, different classes, all communicating to each other, the Java runtime environment will look at the main method and start going down through the list of code. The static basically means that it does not change, it's always there type of thing. And whenever you have a static method, you need static variables to go with it if you want to call it from the outside of this method. So we have the private static string sayings. Now a string is basically a collection of characters. So it's like a sentence in a way, or a paragraph, or whatever. As long as there's like a word or a sentence or whatever I just said, that's basically what a string is. And we name all the variables something. So I called mine saying. Of course, remember about the capitalizations because that matters most. If I were to have this as a capital S and save it, as you can see, this is underlined, saying, wait a second, there's no such thing as saying with a lowercase in the front. There's only saying with an uppercase in the front. So, of course, I have to switch that back into saying, and these will go back to normal. So, we initialize a global variable, meaning that it's access to all the methods within this class. So, it's called into this method with having saying equals hello world. Now, the equal sign, the single equal sign, is assigning a variable something or creating an object, which I'll get into in a moment. But right now, it's just setting the string saying to hello world. So when we do this complex command called System.out.println, ln represents line, so that it has like a return button at the very end of the printing. It will say hello world in the debugging output box, or the console, I'm sorry. So if I run this program, you'll see down here, as soon as it's going, okay, yes, okay. Click OK when that pops up. It'll just say hello world right here. And I think that's really cool of a system, how it works like that. It doesn't like show up as like a, like for example, if you make a video game, it won't show up like a thing saying hello world. Normally, it's like a command prompt that comes up and says hello world basically. Or it doesn't even say it at all if you have like a game in there. It's like you have to call upon the command prompt to make that work. But for now, the public class hello world, it's a collection of objects and methods. A method is another collection of commands within it, like setting variables, calling other methods, or stuff like that. I can also say to create another method, instead of typing out this System.out.println, I can just simply say, okay, I want to make a public method, meaning that it's open to everyone, and I want to return a void. Now, the actual void means that it does not return any data from whichever area it was called within the class. So, public void print, and then we have to assign parameters within the parentheses. So, we can put nothing there, or we can put stuff in there. But if you put stuff in there, you have to initialize the variable. In this case, it will be a string A. And we can just simply do System.out.println A. Make sure you always have a semicolon at the very end, and that tells the compiler, which converts this code into bytecode, that this code line has ended, basically. So instead of writing all this stuff, like if you had to write this command 100 times, you would just simply write the print method that I just created under here. So we delete that and just put in print. Now, of course, this is a little different because this is static. So we have to do public static void, and that would be perfectly fine. Now, in order to, as I said before, put anything in a static method, which is main, you have to have the method static just to work, or else you will have an error like I just said, or just had. So we can compile it and run it, and it'll do the exact same thing. But this time we made it a little bit easier, so we can say stuff like print goodbye, print this is cool, and it's really cool how you can do this because it's really flexible. And you can create as many methods as you want. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. And as you can see, it prints out more stuff here. So what happens if we uh, take out the ln and just do print? Well, let's see. It would just be all combined like that because the ln represents the return key at the very end. Like if you look at your keyboard, the enter and return key, or well, they're the exact same key, but it just works as you're typing, press enter, and there you go. So that's a very basic tutorial for this Java series I'm making. I know I was a little shaky on it a little bit, but hopefully this helps you a lot. I haven't been doing Java that much, but I figured I'd get back into it. I've used some LW, what is it, GJL or JGL? I don't know what the heck they call it. But it's the game engine that Minecraft uses and stuff like that. I know a lot of that stuff, so hopefully I can eventually get into that. But for now, this is just the basics on how classes and stuff like that works. I'm going to explain a little bit on how objects work and how multiple classes can interact with each other in the next tutorial. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you liked the video and subscribe to my channel. Got some cool Minecraft stuff, computer craft stuff. I make apps, I'm an indie developer, all that. But I hope this has helped you out. Thank you for watching. This is MrSovr. See you later.